Okay, this is Donald Sexton, residing in San Diego. It's part three of my introduction to explain the complaints and the grievances that I have on the injustice and the crimes, the violations, the infractions, exposing ethical challenges and moral hazards, and even incompetence committed by the San Diego Police Department and an affiliated agency that seems more hollow in its stated purpose tries to establish, and that's called the Citizens Review Board on Police Practices. Hopefully I can get eventually to how my misfortune led me to be involved with them. The complaint I have with the San Diego Medical Service is it's an ambulance that tries to promote itself as kind of affiliated with the San Diego government or civil services, in a way a public service, when it's actually a for-profit corporateered heist, public service heisted and public good forsaking. I'm trying to find out. I mean, I don't want to call it an agency. It's just that it's kind of a facade of a public service agency when it's actually, well, in my experience, probably in others as well, because it's very controversial, and to me, it was nothing more than an $800 taxi ride that was negligent in providing treatment I needed when I was run down, plowed into by a negligent, irresponsible other named Tor Christian Becken that ran into me when he was driving his van. I was commuting on a bicycle and launched into the air, probably I determined it a 5 meter, about 3 to 4 meter height, 5 meters down the road, rolling, tumbling, flipping, crashing, smashing my heads and shoulders and hips into the asphalt to incur injuries to my hips, mostly my right hip, significantly my right hip, both my shoulders and my neck, terrible whiplash that the San Diego Medical Services did not treat, other than maybe cleaning off the abrasions and the wounds, but did nothing to stabilize me. The golden hour, especially even you'll find out by the Naval Medical Center San Diego, the ER, the golden hour of treatment was totally disregarded, and they didn't, especially the Naval Medical Center San Diego, how reprehensible it is for them to basically. I was delivered there, couldn't even move my arms at the shoulders, difficulty big time. It was alarming. I was so juiced up with adrenaline, and I was probably traveling at about 15 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour is, like I said, at least 50 miles per hour. Sports Arena Boulevard in Rosecrans, the intersection with Rosecrans, and the van driven by Tor Christian Becken slammed into me, traveling at the speed limit, and the impact, as I said, launched me into the air. And it was amazing. His representation actually criticized me for how I landed, saying it was they had a problem with how I was landed. But that's just one of the just absurd, not just absurd, but reprehensible assertions that they tried to promote. And as you know about me, I retired from the service. If you watch the other videos, I retired from the Navy. I was disappointed in the Navy, but even my outlook transcends disappointment with how I've been treated by the VA and other corrupt and parasitic kleptocratic agencies and facilities and departments ever since, including the VA San Diego and the Medical Can't Recovery Unit and the Naval Medic-Can't Center in San Diego, and even those that are part of the VA's council. Including the cronyism, even asserted by Joanna Kolanghoff that I didn't know anything about her husband, and she wanted to. Anyway, I'm probably getting ahead of myself where she comes into it, as well as the Medic-Can't Recovery Unit, including the conniving thieves, Harold Murray and Carlos Rivera. But those two, as there's another lady I will mention, and who manages their activities, but they did not hesitate to backdoor me and be involved, to disregard the legal statutes and the regulations governing their activities. They did not hesitate to backdoor me and exploit me and cause or add to enhance the health and financial suffering that I have encountered ever since the injuries caused by toward Christian Beckon. And it's reprehensible. And those are part of the people that owe me not a debt of service, but of compensation and remediation. So I tried to illustrate my encounters and how I had come to be involved with Tor Christian Beckon, and I will get how I was the issues with San Diego, the police department. But I mentioned the problems with the San Diego Medical Services, the taxi service that delivered me to the Naval Medical Center San Diego ER. Now, when I was delivered to the Naval Medical Center San Diego, I suppose it was just because they found out I was a veteran, a military retiree, and that was, once again, that was just another ingredient to the misfortune of the stew of injustice. Maybe my whole encounter was a perfect storm of injustice that is obscured, tries to be obscured by suppression, by fraud, by forgery, and as I've reiterated, and I will not stop reiterating to that it is reprehensible that I was forced into the line of fire, so to speak, risk my life for what was promoted, what is still being promoted as a moral thing to do, especially, how. Anyway, I'll indicate the situation with Iraq and my involvement and what I am aware of. But as I indicate, It's reprehensible that I was forced to defend such corruption that is even greater, that is even more reprehensible than any terrorist threat. And I mean that from my heart, from even my outlook, that it's just, there's no basis at all for the conduct, for the unjust responses that have occurred. But like I've illuminated you, there is another side to this nation that is, it's corrupt. It's absolutely corrupt, and it's obscured by hypocrisy and propaganda. And that's Scamerica. And it's time we resolve this. Well, hopefully we continue to resolve it, but anyway, the Naval Medical Center, San Diego. When I was taken there, first I was getting attention. I was getting attention, and I don't know if it was appropriate treatment, but I come to find out, okay, with my, using it like the Tyrannosaurus Rex type of hands that I had at the time due to the immobility of my shoulders, I indicated the injuries, I indicated the causes, and I was descriptive, very detailed and descriptive. I'm a very perceptive person. And I I think I have extensive empathy as well. But sometimes I get, I become deluded in a way, or I give people more credit than they deserve outwardly, and I don't express myself in my inner situation, my views, as well as assertively as they should be, and probably allows people more leeway than they should be able to get. So anyway, the treatment that I received by Mark Michaela and Elizabeth Gray and Donald Sally was nothing less than negligent, or nothing more than negligent, and rife with malpractice. They changed the cause of my injuries. They changed the extent. They committed forgery. They lied about things that I had even said, and they lied about even any kind of treatment or test that they were providing to me. I go in there with neck and shoulder injuries. They didn't even do an ER or even an X-ray on my neck and shoulder. And why? Because when they found out that I was just only a military retiree, they changed their how they were going to treat me. The first time I went in there, I went there twice in 72 hours, less than 72 hours. And they did do an X-ray of my right hip, and because it had just an absurd bruise on it, and scrapes, and I did have scrapes on my arms, and of course my helmet was cracked thoroughly. I'll show that eventually. But as I indicated, the second time, as I indicated, they didn't want to treat me. I don't understand, and I didn't understand it at the time, but when I found out later, I was only a military retiree. It didn't matter to them that I was an injured person, that I was an injured military retiree that needed help in that golden hour of treatment. And the only thing they provided otherwise, the second time I went there, were like doses of morphine and a CAT scan, only because I couldn't poop, because of the pain drugs that they had early provided to me. I will continue this later.